Life could be a dream, life could be a dream. Do, 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 shaboom. Life could be a dream. If I could take you up in paradise up above. If you would tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream. Sweetheart, hello, hello again. Shaboom, and open we'll meet again. Boom, ding dong, ding dong, a lang, a lang, a lang. Oh, 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 bip, a bip, a dip. Oh, life could be a dream. If only all my precious plans would come true. If you would let me spend my whole life loving you. Life could be a dream.
The definition of animation is to give life to. And to me, one of the definitions of character animation is that an object moving around his actions have got to appear as though they're driven by its own thought process. If it was alive, what would it be thinking? What would it be feeling? I actually like very much, if you can, to animate an object without putting a face on it. The more you can make it feel like the real object that it is, in not only the way it looks, but the way that it moves, the weight of it, all that stuff. And don't always just bend things around just because the computer software can let you do that. You really think about how it's made. And the more you can make it believable to the audience that it really is this object, and then the personality is logical, that it's like, it makes sense that if a bottle of water was alive, it would be like that, or a lamp, or a car, or, a toy, you name it. It's like, if the more you can really tap into, what the object really is and what it really wants to do, the more believable and clever it is to the audience.
Rigging is the process of adding controls to a digital model that allow animators to move it around and act. When you look at the way a living being moves, every motion they make causes a reaction. What's the difference between this mechanical smile and this friendly smile? It's a little hard to define, but there's just something about the way a living being moves that we work incredibly hard to capture with our characters here at Pixar.
You can learn the computer fairly simply. And there's a lot of funniness and buttons all over the place, but it's actually fairly simple. This is pretty much the same as a bouncing ball. So now I've got my keyframes here, one on the ground, one in the air, one on the ground again. And as I flip through the drawings, you can see that's basically the movement it gives you. So I can tweak the in-betweens using this, which is a spline editor. And I can pull this so that as it hops up in the air, it will hug that top keyframe. So now as I flip through it, you can kind of see that it's favoring the top extreme. By the end, I'll just have numbers all across the screen. But I'm not really looking at the numbers, I'm looking at what they do to this image up top. With a character like Woody, we always describe it as a marionette, and as the character's built, you attach strings or controls. You basically just key in those extremes, and then depending on how you overlap the keys, you can get a nice flowing movement.
It's a blend of the technology and the art that really makes it work.
After we got the physiology right, we need to remember that these characters are film actors. So the kind of motion that they may need to make might be a little more extreme than a regular monster. So we push it a little, gives them extra life so they can be extra exciting on the screen.
Mas nunca habrá que puede ser un amigo fiel, tú lo sabes. Los años pasarán, lo nuestro no morirá, lo vas a ver.
As you can see, we can create any world that we want inside the computer. We can make a world with monsters, with robots that fall in love. We can even make pigs fly. We use science and the world we know as a backbone to ground ourselves in something relatable and recognizable.
It's all created in the computer. So we have sets, we have models, we have lights and everything, but it's all sort of virtual. It's all within in the computer. And so it has a much, much more dimensional look to it than a traditional animation.
animating a short film or any film is to bring the character alive that feels like is set in that environment, because in animation everything is fake. We make up those things. One character has no awareness of the other character in the scene nor the environment. So the tricky part a lot of times is to hit the story beat. On top of that, you got to put acting beat that put the character in that environment. So sometimes he'll make eye contact with the other character in the scene. These are minor stuff, but if you miss those little beats, the character is not believable.
It's this interweaving of art and science that elevates the world to a place of wonder, a place with soul, a place we can believe in.
The thing I want to say about those two studios you mentioned are found by animators. Johnson's animator. Because of that, the company has a culture that cherishes creation and give animator and artists freedom to perform. That's a big difference if, say, the studio is found by a business person or somebody who is focused not so much on art and animation.
While this is an incredible thing, this untethered artistic freedom, we use math, science, and code to create these amazing worlds. We use storytelling and art to bring them to life. It can create unbelievable worlds, unbelievable movement, things that are jarring to the audience. The moment where it all comes together and we get a world that we can believe in. A place where the things you imagine can become real.
And oh, beyond a doubt, my heart will lead me there soon. Oh, we'll meet, I know we'll meet beyond the shore. We'll kiss just as before.